Hey everyone, welcome to Podfest, and I'm going to be talking about podcast guesting and how to bring more ROI to your interviews, so more leads and more conversions. So I'm going to share my screen and dive in to the presentation. Alrighty, so how to create a system that boosts your podcast guesting ROI. So first I'm going to talk about who I am, what the problem is, and a great solution for you. So I'm the founder of Smooth Sailing Business Growth and the Real Estate Investors Marketing Group. I've had a podcast for years. My current one is the ROI Marketing Show. And of course, I host a Facebook group as well for real estate investors marketing. I'm a speaker and a content marketer. So what do we specialize in? Absolutely podcasts, podcast strategy, launches, production, promotion, guest tracking, which I'm going to touch upon today, guest promotion, and honestly, anything content marketing. So let's dive into the problem for a little bit. So many of us guest on podcast shows, and we end up wondering where is the exposure? Why isn't my authority growing? Why doesn't everybody know about me? Why isn't my e-list growing? We hear crickets. Maybe you are getting leads and they're not converting, or the type of leads that you are getting aren't your ideal avatar. And in the end, you feel like you are wasting your time and wasting your energy and just wondering how to get more, through your podcast guesting. Let's start first. You need data to find the solution. So this is key. So I'm going to show you how to find and track that data so you can get the solution. So again, start tracking. You have to track, who have you pitched to be on? I'm sure you send out a ton of emails or DMs, and you want to be on a ton of different podcast shows. So you need to have an inventory and keep track of how many people that you've pitched, who invited you, what interviews ended up being booked, and have they gone live? I mean, how often have you been a guest on show and it's just gone into the black hole? So I've had this happen to a ton of my clients. And I ask, I'm like, hey, were you on this show? And they're like, oh yeah, I was. I never heard from the host. I mean, I bet that has happened to you as well. It just disappears into, the great abyss. And meanwhile, you've spent time and effort being a guest on that show. So this is what we do for some of our clients. And I kind of did up a spreadsheet just to kind of give you an idea of how we set it up. So we track who we pitch podcast guesting to, and who has booked, who has answered. Sometimes you get a no, it's not a right fit, and that's okay. And that way you also know when they've gone live. So this is just, of course, an example. So, June 15th, we pitched to be on a podcast show. We emailed them again to try to be on the show. The cash flow guys, it ended up being booked. The interview date was August 3, and you're waiting for it to go live. So hopefully the host will tell you when it's going to go live. So you can kind of mark that in, it's going to go live sometime in October. So then you have time to follow up, make sure that it has gone live, find the information so that you can promote it. Or in the case of the two bottom ones, they have been booked and they have gone live, so therefore you were able to promote it. This way you are able to boost your exposure. You can have a VA or content marketer or someone on your team that can track those podcasts that you've pitched, those that you've interviewed, and those that have gone live. That way, none of them are going into that black hole, and you will actually have the opportunity to boost your exposure and make sure that you're spreading the word that you have been on these amazing podcast shows. Now, I'm going to show you an example that happened to one of my clients, so a case study, if you will. So I have a client, and she is in the tax coach accounting sphere, and she was guesting on a ton of podcasts. and she used a pitching company to pitch her, so she didn't have to worry about that part. But she was really focused on accounting and finance podcasts. And it just wasn't bringing in her ROI. She was getting nothing but crickets. And the leads that were coming in weren't the best. So we made some changes. We updated her interview topics. We created some new opt-ins that resonated with different types of podcasts. We updated her one sheet. We actually had a few variations of them. We updated her pitch emails, and we started tracking to get that data. So then we started approaching or pitching to different types of podcasts, because sometimes you have to think outside the box. So she started approaching, doctor and dentist type podcasts, because they were a really good avatar and a really good type of client that she has in her practice. Another type of client that she had were those in the service business industry. So she wanted to get on those kinds of shows that related to service business industries. And then she also went on different wealth podcasts. So like, how to be a millionaire, those kind of like millionaire club type podcasts. Again, she wanted to get tax planning clients and profit planning clients from these, because they were great avatars. And so here were our findings. Behind door number 1, no leads. There were leads, but there wasn't very many. So it was really, really frustrating. Again, all that time spent, pitching to be on those podcasts, paying a company that books them, and then the time spent doing the podcasts. And so it just wasn't bringing in that ROI. Door number 2, same thing, except this time leads were coming in, which was awesome, but the calls that they were having and booking from these leads were not her ideal client. So in the end, they were wasting even more time, right? All those sales calls, all the follow-up emails, and they were just not the right avatar, and they weren't going to convert into the programs that she had and therefore make money. So again, leads are great, but the leads have to be your perfect avatar in order to convert into the paying services that you have. Door number 3 was a winner. So she got amazing leads, way more leads than the others. And the leads that were coming in were buying. They were her perfect avatar, and she was having a much higher conversion. So we have a couple of ways of tracking to get this data. So I'm going to show you tracking option number 1. And this is super easy. So I don't know if you've heard of Pretty Links, but it's a plugin for WordPress, and it allows you to cloak or disguise a URL. So like, when you have a really ugly long URL that is like from a ClickFunnels landing page or whatever, this one gives you a nice branded one. So here's an example. So smoothbusinessgrowth.com/cashflow, it actually forwards to my lead magnet. I mean, that URL is nice and clean as well, but it's one that is unique for the specific podcast that I guested on. Now, Pretty Links in the background of WordPress will actually give you statistics. You can see the number of clicks, the number of unique clicks. Well, obviously, you care about more than just the number of clicks in general. And it also shows the dates. So you can see the date range. So like, let's say June 1 to June 20th, the host and you promoted the podcast episode, and those were the leads that came in during that time. And then you may get a few like that trickle in over the next month, but generally speaking, that was like the higher promo period. So you can see how many people clicked onto that. Tracking option number 2 is a little bit more involved. So like those with ClickFunnels, it does have an affiliate feature. Those with Infusionsoft, it does have affiliate. Same with Kartra, Sam's Cart. There are affiliate programs within payment processors and within some of the funnels and systems. So you can actually take that extra step, set up your host as an affiliate, especially if your opt-in has an upsell. So like if someone opts in for something and on the thank you page, it says, hey, if you liked this, then for $27, you can buy blah, blah, blah. And then maybe even there's an upsell after that. And then you still use a pretty link, but it's cloaking the referral link to the opt-in. So here's an example. So smoothbusinessgrowth.com/cashflow is the pretty link, but it forwards to that long-winded affiliate referral link. But in the end, it does forward to the opt-in page. So that seems a little bit convoluted, but this will give you way more information. And if your host is interested in being an affiliate, they also make money on the sales, and you have a way of getting more sales. So this is how I track the results. So here's a couple of examples. So let's say a podcast went live on July 26th, and you want to make sure that you have the data of like, where is the host, where's the web page for the host, right? And then what link did you use and share on the podcast? And how many unique clicks? So this first row is pretty links. The next row I show as an example if they were an affiliate. So I still have the smoothbusinessgrowth.com/XYZ, whatever it is. I also put the raw affiliate link in there. And then this way it shows me how many unique clicks were there, how many actual opt-in conversions, and for the upsells, you can even see how many orders. So it gives you way more data. Now let's take it one step further. So for me and my clients, we track our statistics for our campaigns. So let's say, for example, my swipe and deploy page, I'm just making these numbers up. That is my opt-in link. So if you go into Google Analytics, I can see that there are 400 unique visitors to that page. I know in my system in Kartra that those that do opt in get a tag. So I can get the data on, oh, there's 200 people that opted in during January. The conversion rate is 50%. Now I can see within the affiliate tracking or the pretty links, what clicks, like you remember how I said that pretty links shows you the date period. Of course, the affiliate stuff will as well. So I can attribute that XYZ podcast had 100 clicks. And if that type of podcast was, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3, I will know that, oh man, it is wealth podcasts that are bringing me the best ROI, the more leads, the best quality of leads. And so therefore, those types of podcasts, I need to invest in more. I don't want to go on the service business podcast. I don't want to go on accounting and finance podcasts because that is not bringing me the ROI. It's not bringing me the numbers. It's not giving me exposure. It's not giving me the conversions that I want. And so underneath that, I would track the different products that are in that funnel for that lead magnet. So whatever products that you push to after the lead magnet, so then you can track the sales as well, and you can get a lot deeper. So this way, you are able to make educated decisions based on the data. Now, it does take a little bit of work up front in regards to thinking about the different types of podcasts that you can go on. And sometimes you do need to think outside the box and really think about your client avatar, what their interests are, where they're hanging out, what kind of podcasts are they listening to. If you can find out what kind of podcasts they're listening to, then you can try to get on those shows, and you're going to tap into your avatar much more effectively and quicker. And then again, like if you have to change your one sheet, or if you have to change your pitch email to pitch those types of podcasts more effectively so you can appeal and attract those audiences, then it is going to give you the data that you need and that you can prove to be able to then make those decisions. And so that is the tracking. And of course, if you do need support for your podcast guesting, we do that tracking for you. We also will publish those episodes and promote it. I do want to leave off by saying that when you are a guest on a podcast show, make sure that you share it everywhere. Set it up on your website as a blog, because you do want to leverage that content and push people to your website. And of course, have social media and post it in LinkedIn posts, send an email out to your e-list. You want to leverage that as much as possible to gain more exposure. But in order to get that data, you need to get that tracking and that system in place for you to understand where you're getting more results, so that you can make great decisions and crush your podcast interviews. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions.